The narcissist exposes himself ultimately and embarrasses himself. You might be under the impression that this never occurs. However, narcissists do reveal themselves openly. Take a moment to observe. So, how do they persist unnoticed? This cannot be perpetual. Matters are spiraling out of control, and no one seems to notice. They go about it in a manner that goes unnoticed, but they are discernible. They are bound to emerge. They won't be able to evade exposure any longer. Wondering how? Pay attention. Hello everyone, welcome back. I trust you're all doing well. Today, let's delve into how narcissists exhibit themselves. Don't assume they can perpetually evade detection. How do they manage it, you might ask? What's their modus operandi? Just take a look at them and think, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes for even an hour. Reflect on all the untruths and deceit you've witnessed. Recall what they've disclosed to everyone. And take note, they may be cunning, but they aren't that clever. Yes, you're correct. They are human beings. I understand that might be contentious, but they are indeed human. Their ruse will eventually crumble. I'll also discuss the unmistakable indicators of their exposure, how narcissists get ensnared, and how their facades eventually shatter. So, how do they do it? Ultimately, how do they unveil their true selves? It's quite amusing because this empowers you, doesn't it? It grants you strength because they feel so inadequate when they're unmasked, right? Naturally, they won't display their true selves to you, for they're deeply embarrassed when their real nature is revealed. Their unhappiness stems from being seen. Let's be honest. They spent their entire lives concealing a troubling past that they'd rather not acknowledge or disclose to others. Everything comes to light eventually because the truth always does. What they reveal is their lack of concern for others. Initially, it's challenging to discern this because detecting someone's absence of empathy is not a straightforward task. Undoubtedly, some narcissists possess cognitive empathy, but not all. They feign an understanding of what it's like to love someone and claim to grasp your feelings. However, with time, the facade wears thin as you realize it's insincere. This can become rather vexing, leading you to wonder, how can they not comprehend? You'll also notice repetitive patterns and themes in their behavior. This becomes clear over time. Moreover, they engage in deceptive practices, attempting to manipulate you in various ways. Yet, their tactics become transparent as you start thinking, wait a moment. How can someone's life consistently be filled with chaos and drama? What's truly happening? You ponder. This proficiency in acting and deceit makes them believe they have you fooled. Their unwavering self-assurance leads to complacency. Eventually, their falsehoods become so glaringly incorrect that you're left questioning, really, is that even remotely accurate? Subsequently, you begin to question the situation further, thinking, this isn't right. You wonder how one can be the epicenter of perpetual turmoil. You find yourself concluding that you don't wish to maintain such a friendship or relationship. No, I'm finished, you declare. In addition to their unreceptive nature, their egos are notably fragile. Expressing concerns or pointing out potential mistakes to them is virtually impossible. Such interactions often lead to conflict. They habitually shift blame onto others, leaving you wondering, why am I constantly in the wrong? They always have a retort ready when you approach them with anything. It seems as though they must always one-up you. Over time, this becomes exasperating, prompting you to think, no, this is not acceptable. It doesn't align with the way most people conduct themselves. This recurring pattern underscores their sensitivity to criticism. They struggle to handle even the mildest form of reproach. Even if the matter has no relevance to them, they may interpret it as a personal affront, assuming you're mocking them, even when you're not. You can't help but wonder, how can they not comprehend? As time passes, you discern that their perspective on the world around them is askew, as though they perceive it differently, making every situation revolve around them. This perpetual distortion of reality becomes increasingly nonsensical, leading you to declare, "No, this isn't working for me." This leads to the second point, their absence of accountability. Consequently, they consistently cast blame on others, never extending an apology and deeming their behavior, words, and treatment of others entirely acceptable. They persistently belittle those around them, perpetuating a cycle of strife. Their erratic behavior becomes wearisome, leaving you with a sense of discomfort in their presence. This discomfort stems from their lack of responsibility, their skewed perceptions, and their understanding of the world. These factors compel you to reassess the situation and begin distancing yourself. Nasty individuals possess an acute sensitivity, and when you initiate this distancing, they pick up on it. They discern that their usual tactics, games, and demeanor are losing their grip on you. You respond with a resolute, "Indeed, they are no longer effective." It's at this point that they become even more defensive, typically resulting in a diminishing of their perceived value. You might find yourself thinking, "No more of this." You've reached your limit and realized that their defensiveness and belittling behavior are untenable. This reflection raises the question, is this truly how I should be treated? Is this the reality I want to inhabit? Can you perceive how, as time progresses, it's akin to a snowball effect? Doubts concerning the narcissist's conduct start to infiltrate your thoughts, and you find yourself at odds with it. This is simply not acceptable. You affirm to yourself, "What's happening here?" Each of these issues accumulates, eroding your patience. You contemplate, "I no longer want to endure this." These are the markers that guide you. Don't assume that the narcissist will change or be different with someone else. That's a false hope. The narcissist remains unaltered. They have no inclination to change, persisting in their behavior even after you've implored them to desist. They evade taking responsibility, failing to acknowledge the potential impact of their actions on your well-being or the happiness of those they claim to care about. Folks, here's the crux of the matter. They are genuinely indifferent. They lack the capacity to empathize. Despite their pretenses, they cannot truly comprehend your experiences, or at least not all of them. Consequently, you begin to feel excluded, realizing that caution is warranted around this person who doesn't genuinely grasp your essence. This quandary transforms into a personal dilemma as you realize you're losing your sense of self. Being with this person becomes untenable, as they are ill-suited for meaningful relationships. Their incapacity to connect with you in a meaningful way becomes evident. However, paradoxically, they also cannot disengage from you. Initially, they might evade the consequences of their actions, presuming you are unaware of their duplicity. But, dear friends, you do see through their facade in due course. This is the crux of the matter. These problems, whether individually or collectively, start to make you question the reality of the situation. Initially, you might internalize the issues, thinking, "Maybe I need to adapt. Perhaps it's my fault." Yet, with time, you come to realize that the fault doesn't lie with you. It's not your responsibility. That's when you initiate the process of disengagement, and eventually, you depart from this individual. I recognize that the process requires a significant amount of time, and that separating is not a simple undertaking, particularly in light of the enduring trauma. Having nevertheless taken that action, you are present, my comrades. It is precisely because you are here viewing this video and others like it on my channel, that I'm placing emphasis on that. You have already committed to the effort that lies ahead by selecting this content. You possess knowledge of it. If you have contemplated or are presently contending with any of these matters, kindly note that I provide individual consultations. Additional information is available via the hyperlink provided below. Furthermore, I participate in a writing society where I contribute content every Monday and a mentorship program. The link to further investigation is provided in the description that follows. Should this endeavor prove to be arduous, viewing this video might offer enlightenment regarding the narcissist's conduct and the fundamental forces at play. I'm convinced they have moved on from you and can explain why. Nevertheless, I explore certain subjects elaborately that are addressed in this video. Finally, consider becoming a member of my Discord server if you wish to establish connections with individuals who share your interests and become a part of a supportive community. The link is contained within the description that follows. It provides a safe environment to interact with people who can relate to your situation. There, we also facilitate live discussions.